And there was a moment, a brief, fleeting moment in time, where there was actually a serious discussion as to whether or not the Jets were the best run football team in New York. The idea being that the Giants were such a mess, and the Jets had their quarterback of the future, and they were building through the draft. I mean, the whole thing was very un-Jets-like. It's a weird time, too. A weird time where we were hyping the Jets, cracking on the Giants. Up was down, day was night. And then they go and they do something like this, and they totally redeem themselves. They're back to being the Jets. And because of that, all is right in the world once again. Because only the New York Jets would do something like this. And I'm not even talking about firing Maccagnan. It's not like this guy was a perfect GM by any stretch. Maybe if you were going to fire that guy, maybe you do that when you fire the head coach, Todd Bowles, at the end of last season. You know, clean the house then. Clean house, get a new GM, get a new head coach, start over, hit reset. This is what most normal, legitimate organizations would do, but not the Jets. Instead, team CEO Christopher Johnson kept him around. And then what did he do? He had Maccagnan hire Adam Gase. He had him spend $120 million in free agency. He had him run the draft. And then, after all of that, he fires him in mid-May. You have this guy do the three most important things that a GM can do. Hire a head coach, spend in free agency, run the draft. And then you fire him when nothing matters? Who's advising Christopher Johnson? Linda and Kurt Rambis? Sheldon Richardson, the former Jet, now with the Browns, said it best. Quote, why they fire him now, after the draft? That's just kind of pointless. End quote. It is kind of pointless, but it is very much on brand for the Jets. And the only way it could have been any more Jets is if Christopher Johnson handled the Maccagnan firing himself while shouting, Jets, 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 Jets. Don't let the door hit you in the ass, Maccagnan. Jets, 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 Jets. Because Johnson was the same guy hyping Maccagnan back in March when he said, quote, I think he's terrific at his job. He has a plan that I believe in. It's really key that he's working well with Adam, end quote. A lot of organizations hype guys right up until they fire them. But only the Jets would hype somebody all the way through the most important months of their job and then fire them and then turn it all over to Adam Gase. I repeat, Adam Gase. A guy with a career losing record as a head coach. And you just gave this guy the keys to the castle. Back-to-back losing seasons got this guy fired in Miami. And not just hired in New York, but hired and then promoted in New York, and he hasn't even coached a game. Adam Gase? This dude's getting the Bill Belichick treatment. Gase is shopping for the groceries and cooking the dinner. That Adam Gase. The guy who was freaking out everybody at his own introductory presser with, well, whatever the hell was happening with his eyes. My man looked like he'd been kidnapped, drugged, and taken to that presser. But it turns out he's the one who's got the power. He's the power behind the throne. You thought this guy had been kidnapped by the Jets? He kidnapped the Jets. Look, I don't want to visually indict anybody, but maybe you don't throw the keys of the organization to a guy who looks like he's wearing those prank googly eyes. Because then you get the New York Post running with headlines like, the look that kills. I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. Because right after Maccagnan was axed, word came out that Gase never even wanted Le'Veon Bell. You know, Le'Veon Bell, the biggest free agent signing for the Jets since pretty much ever. Yeah, he didn't want him. And he wanted to make sure that everybody knew that as soon as he dumped Maccagnan's body overboard, that he didn't want Bell either. Now, I'd say that the news leaked but it didn't leak. It rushed. And look, I get it. A lot of coaches don't love big signings, especially big money signings, big money going to running backs. In fact, I don't know any coaches that like that. Gase would not be the first head coach to say that signing a free agent back to a big money deal is a waste of money. But he might be the first head coach, an interim GM, to dump all over the team's star free agent before letting him run the ball even once. Are you trying to lose the team before you even coach the team? All of which had Lev tweeting. He took out his phone and he thumbed out the following. There's been a bunch of false reports and speculation about me in the past, about things I've said and done. So I'm used to this. I don't jump to conclusions when I hear or see a story that may affect me. Even if reports are true, that won't stop me from doing what I came here to do. Everyone has a job to do, and I'm going to do mine. And whether people like me or not, I'm here to win football games. Let me translate that for you. Translation: I guess my new head coach doesn't want me here, but I'm here, so what the hell can I do? And by the way, what the hell is going on with the Jets that they dropped a huge chunk of change on a guy that the head coach didn't want? How did Christopher Johnson sign off on that? Christopher Johnson thought so highly of Adam Gase that after knowing him for only a few months, just gave him the organization. But at the same time, did not consult with him on the signing of Le'Veon Bell. But then did listen to him when it came to firing the GM. But if you listen to Johnson, Gase was not involved in the firing at all. All right, so Adam had nothing to do with it. All right, Chris. Adam had nothing to do. The coach had nothing to do with the firing of the GM. Never mind all the reports that they were not on the same page. All right, fine. So then what that means is there's two options. The dude with the crazy eyes, who you've known for only a few months, was involved in the firing of the GM of the last few years, or you want us to believe that he was not involved at all, and this entire idiotic situation is on your hands. So, either you're lying about this power play, or you didn't notice it. Either way, it's a terrible look. I'm not sure who's in over his head more, Gase or Johnson. Either way, these two dudes are perfect for each other. And perfect for the Jets. Jets, Jets. Embarrassing as they ever were. And yes, still more embarrassing than the Giants. One thing that I do have to give up, though, I do have to tip my hat to Crazy Eyes for one thing. Man, that dude knows how to parlay Pinky's success in Denver and one above average season with Cuddy in Chicago into better jobs for himself. Even after this guy has gone below 500 in Miami, he's now got the same organizational power as the Hood, at least for the time being. So I'm not sure who this guy's agent is or if this guy's the best interviewer in the game, but Crazy Eyes is doing something right because my man is falling forward. He is failing forward.